Welcome, gamers, to 1066 in the game of Field of Glory Kingdoms. Field of Glory Kingdoms is sort of like a strategic overlay to Field of Glory 2 Medieval. So you can play the battles out in Field of Glory 2 Medieval, which is what we're going to be doing today, with one of the big battles coming up, and also we're going to be having a look at Field of Glory Kingdoms, if you may be interested in either or both games. And I think that this is a really good illustration of what both games do incredibly well. Field of Glory Kingdoms is really about the managing your kingdom, in our case a petty kingdom. And this is actually part of an ongoing series that I've been doing for Slitherine, but this is actually outside of that particular series that I'm doing. I wanted to actually sort of show. I'm actually showing Field of Glory Kingdoms for Slitherine on their channels, but I really wanted to show this handshaking between Kingdoms and Medieval. And really, just in a snapshot, Kingdoms, as I said before, does a strategic overlay, does a sort of meta game, does the grand campaign type situation, and Medieval, Field of Glory 2 Medieval, does the tabletop tactical experience. So it's sort of, they're two different games, but very closely related. Now, the year is 1066, the seminal year where the Normans historically invaded England. But that's not going to happen. For the simple reason, you'll see that we're over through here. We're playing as Wales, so we control, in fact, if I just go across into ownership overlay, you'll see that we actually have control over this region from Anglesey through Gwynedd, through Perfedwlad, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Powys, and then Morganwig down through here. We also have a vassal. This is Dubath, which is our one vassal. So these are our core lands. We've been raiding Mercia, or not just raiding. We've actually been invading Mercia, and so we've got Cheshire, we've got Worcester, and we've also got Hereford back in through here as well. We've just finished off a siege at Hereford, so the siege there has just collapsed, and so our army is now free. We've got a fairly large army. These, you'll notice when we hover over these different areas, this is a hill back and through this other side, but these are plains, and so we had built our army to really assault the plains of England and to sort of come down into the plains, and maybe not so much the forest, but certainly the plains. And you can sort of see that there is actually different terrain as I hover over. This is forest down through there, then we're back to snowy plains. The reason it's snowy is, and I'll try to explain some things with the game without going into too much detail, but this is a harsh season, so we're currently in a harsh season, and when I hover over different things, we'll see weather patterns of like this means that it's harsh but still okay, and so we're going to end up with snow on the ground. If I go and click this one back off again, the ownership overlay, you can see that there's snow all the way through here, but in France there isn't. And so we've got, this is just a plain, so they're actually not suffering from the ill effects of the harsh season. But as we get deeper into Germany, we then start to sort of see more snow as appeared on the actual map itself. I won't spend too much time with that, but that's sort of what's going on over there. Now, historically, let's just quickly sort of summarize what happened historically and why that's not going to happen now. So in 1066, Edward the Confessor, who was the King of England at the time, died, and he actually had three claimants to the throne. One was Wessex down the bottom through here, so Wessex was one claimant. The other was Normandy back over and through here. So we've got sort of like the Normans down this way, and then back up through here we had Norway as well. So we've got so you've got the Vikings were wanting to be king of England. You've got the Anglo-Saxons through Wessex. Also had the claim, and then the Normans themselves. And of course, we all know that the Normans ended up winning with William the Conqueror. But when Edward the Confessor died, if I just go into diplomacy here, we'll see that Harold Godwinson is actually still alive. He's been around for a while. He is he's the claimant to the English throne essentially. He was back historically, and so he was essentially he took the claim. We have all of these historical figures still in the map, still in the game. So if we go into Norway, that's a vassal of Norway. Where's Norway? Oslo. Okay, so this in through here we've got Harald Hardrada is the king again. Historically, the king of Norway. Now, in our game, Norway is actually attacking Scotland, and so they're actually back over here. They're pretty much preoccupied. They're not going to be really in a position, I don't think, to attack England. And then we've got down through here when we have a look at again with the diplomacy selected, we've got Normandy back down this other side, and we have William the Conqueror ready to cross the the channel and invade England. But England is not ruled at this stage by Edward the Confessor. England is ruled at this stage by a character called Edric. Edric was previously known as Hugh Roxbury, but why is he in charge? It's because in our particular combat that we had very early on, we actually defeated Edward the Confessor and killed him, like before the historical time. And so in that case, we no longer have Edward the Confessor with his myriad of different marriages or ties to his throne. So the claimants are no longer as strong as what they were. Edric has now been in power for a certain period of time. You can see down through what he has actually got through there. East Anglia, Mercia and Northumbria are his vassals. And so he's at war with Dubath and also with us, with Wales. He has a royal marriage with Norway. So Norway is still actually in the runnings. And he also has a royal marriage with Wessex. But he has his own heir now. It's only a weak heir. John is the weak heir that he actually has himself. So Wessex could still vie for this through their royal marriage, and Norway could as well if he's no longer around. But Edward the Confessor is gone. So we're playing ahistorically at this point in time. The Norman invasion is very, very unlikely to happen in our timeline. But we are like playing as Wales. If I go and click on Wales through here, you can see that we're at war with England, East Anglia, Mercia and Northumbria. So that's where all of our wars actually are. We have good war scores against England. We killed their king after all. And we also have Mercia. We've been really pushing hard. And so we've got good war scores against those two. East Anglia has been too far away, but we do have claims on a lot of the East Anglian lands. And Northumbria, we haven't really done much with them at all. So Northumbria has been untouched by the war. What they've been doing is they've been raiding. And in fact, you can see that there's been a raid there. So Anglesey was raided by Northumbria and the interlopers were soundly defeated. So they've been raiding. Now, to set the tone for what this is going to be all about, this particular episode, what we end up having in this very, very harsh climate is there's blizzards raging in our capital. So we've got Gwynedd is our capital, and you can see when I hover over it, it says mountain with blizzard. And so the if I click on it a second time, it's I don't know if it'll show it in here as such. There's a few different things happening. We've been blockaded. The harbour of the region is blockaded and won't provide any production or siege resistance bonus. And that's just going to happen while a blockade is in effect. The blockade is through here with the Northumbrian fleet. So the Northumbrians launched their fleet literally just this turn, but they launched it into a harsh season. And if I go and click on their actual fleet, we can then see what the fleet consists of. It consists of Siward the Stout, which is the king of Northumbria. Northumbria is a petty kingdom. We're a petty kingdom as well. And they've got like a lot of different troops coming our way. So they've actually got like Huscarls, which is heavy Viking infantry, essentially, if you sort of think of it in those sort of terms. These are a couple of hundred years after the high point of the Viking era, but still Huscarls are very, very heavily involved in fighting around England and those different areas. We have a variant of those which we'll go through as well. I'll just quickly go through what these have got. These have got lots of raw spearmen are on board the ships. These are heavy infantry, which we'll talk about when we get into the actual other game. And then we have mercenary light cavalry. So they've actually employed mercenaries to try to invade us. And so this is an invasion force inside the Solway Firth in the western oceanic seas. But that's, by being there, they've actually now blockaded all of the north coast of Wales. And when we just quickly hover over, you'll sort of notice that some of these have got like their effectiveness is very, very low, like effectiveness 0 of Tower of 2, but still with all their hit points. And so being on board these ships, you can see there that the heavy infantry, which is Levy, it's a support unit, and it's boarded on an awful transport barge. And so these are in very, very rough conditions out in the Solway Firth. And they've lost a lot of their effectiveness due to the condition that they're in out through here with the harsh season. So dangerous. It's dangerous for them to be out there, but it's still effective enough to blockade, as I say, Anglesey, Gwynedd, and Perfedwalad. I don't know. I can't even. Perfedwalad. Anyway, however you pronounce that part of Wales. So they're in a position to invade us with their Huskarl and Raw Spearmen. They also then have this mercenary group of light cavalry. So we're going to come back out. We've just finished off a siege in through here. So the siege of Hereford in Mercia is over and Wales stands victorious. So we've just finished off that siege. We're now moving back up through this other side. There are Mercian armies down through here with 8 units. So this one here is like a simple, just raw spearmen, along with mercenary bowmen back and through there, and archers as well. So they've got like a lot of archers coming through. So William Rufus is the current, this is the Earl of Mercia, who is also the leader of Mercia. And so William Rufus is only 14 years old, so he's only just come into the game. We must have killed the Mercian king, I didn't even realise, but the old Mercian king must have been destroyed in combat with us. I think it may have been a couple of episodes ago. I've got a funny feeling I do vaguely remember that happening. Anyway, I do remember Edward the Confessor being killed by this same army that we actually have. Now, our army through here is controlled by Gronwa, which is a noble of no royal lineage who is actually good at attacking, not great at defending. So he's actually sort of in charge of our group. He actually does have different benefits in through this other side. He's a flanker, but he only gets the flanking ability in open terrain, so he doesn't actually get to do that one. So that's actually what he sort of operates in. We then actually have, and again, if we have a look at Seaward, the Stout, he has got like an offensive rating of 2, a defensive rating of 2, and I'll show you how the combat works. But we're going to mainly be exporting this out when the game sort of with the combat, because he should be invading. He can't invade into Gwynedd. This is a mountain region with a blizzard raging, and so there's no movement allowed in Gwynedd at the moment. So the only movement, they could either invade Anglesey or they could invade Perfedwalad back down through here. So we're going to move back up into this position and try to get there before them. This is a snowy hill, and the way it works is that and I'll show you this when we get into the actual game itself, but when I actually end the game, or end the turn here, you'll see that there's a few different aspects about the region that you're then operating in. And so the way that Field of Glory Kingdoms works with its combat is that it has this one through here will sort of then show like a frontage, and so there's a frontage in the hills of only 6. So that means that you only have 6 units side by side standing in that particular location. Now with all of their spearmen, that's actually ideal because they can actually sort of set that one up. So if they have those plus support units, as in range units, that's a really, really ideal way to defend into these sorts of areas. If I have a look down, for example, here in the open plains, and click on that one through there, we'll then sort of see that this one here is got a frontage of 18 with flankers able to take 6 of those. And so this is much, much wider, and the flanking aspect is really ideal for cavalry, so for knights. And so this is really sort of like where the plains are great for cavalry, the hills not so much because there is no flanking through the actual hills themselves. So that's where we are. That's sort of how things are going to work, and I'm pretty sure that there will be a fight that will come back down into this particular region. So what we're going to do is we're going to unpause the game, and then I can show you the 2 different ways of fighting in this incredibly good series of games, actually, like Field of Glory 2 Medieval for the tactical battles, and just the base game of Field of Glory Kingdoms, in this case, for just playing out a simple sort of like an auto battler, essentially. So let's just go across and end our turn. Now, what's going to happen here is if it follows what happened when I was doing the live stream, it should move down into, and it's a WeGo system. When you end the turn, everyone's moving. Now everyone's moving into Powies. Now what's actually happened through here is they got there before we got there, so our force didn't actually make it. So they've got Seaward the Stout has now entered with combat power of 99. This is very, very close, like for when our force does arrive. They've got 17 units going up against just the defending units of Wales. This is the garrison units of the region. I should have shown how that actually operates, but it operates based on the buildings that you've got, the type of, like there's a base garrison anyway when you do move into a location. And so these are sort of hastily put together forces, essentially just to sort of withstand these. Now, with these sorts of battles, I can export the battle out. I can just view the battle. I'm just going to view it so you can sort of see what actually happens. So we're just going to go, and unfortunately, we didn't get there with our main army in time. So our main army is still working its way into the hills of Wales. So if I go and I may have been able to use faster moving troops to try to get there in advance, but we actually have some fairly slow moving units in our actual army. The infantry that we actually have is quite slow. So we're going to just go and view the battle. So this is the battle as per Field of Glory Kingdoms. And so what we have is we have our narrow frontage of just 6. You can see that there's an extra spot there. We only have 5, so we're sort of stretched right across. Now, unfortunately, we've got Brythonic Foot here, which is the only real infantry unit that we actually have. And then we have support units, the Javelin Men. The trouble we have with this is that our Javelin Men are supposed to be in behind actual infantry, and we don't have it. So we only have Javelin Men to sort of work their way and trying to fight against actual spearmen. So the raw spearmen are attacking. We do have an advantage here. If I just go and click start the battle in through this side, there's a ranged phase. Now 4 of ours get to fire randomly on the enemy. This is their support group. These are mercenary light cavalry, and these also do actually have a ranged ability. I think they've got javelins as well. And so we'll just go and play out that one. Now they've exhausted this one here. What they've been able to do is actually completely destroy its effectiveness. It's only got 1 hit point anyway. This one's got effectiveness 3. This one's down to effectiveness 0. These are down to effectiveness of 2, which will actually then have an impact in the actual coming fight. These are down as well. These have got low effectiveness all the way through. This one is actually still fairly high. The Huskarls are really going to be dominant in this particular fight. These are ideal for fighting in these sort of conditions. So we're now just going to go and play. And what it does is it's already happened. Essentially, we're just looking at what actually did go on with this one. But it's a random, and I won't spend too much time with this, but you can see there, traditionally the Huskarls would have a 4 effectiveness and 4 hit points. One of the effectiveness is gone because of landing with the ships, and the ships sort of were terrible. But they did actually pick up some of their health back when they actually did land into Wales. Our guys, the Brythonic Foot, are fine. These have got a combat rating of 8. They do actually have support bonus because of the units being behind them. So they've got 10 total rankings, so 8 plus 2. Our rankings down through here with our Brythonic Foot, these don't have as strong ability, and so these have actually got a 6 combat rating with a plus 2 terrain defense. Now, if we had have had more base units here and the support units in behind, we would have got another plus 2, and we would have then matched their combat rating just with Brythonic Foot. So in this case, we're 2 behind where they are. They also have Seaward the Stout, who is actually coming through. The cruelty doesn't really impact what's happening in terms of this particular fight, but in this case, the Seaward the Stout has got an attack value of 2, so he's attacking, and so in this case, he actually has 2 extra die rolls. We don't have that, so we're already a long way behind in what can happen. These are strong and regular troops. Ours is strong, but they're recruits, so we don't have any bonus there. So the minimum roll for any of the die rolls here will be 4. If they roll under 4, they'll re-roll again. And for us, if we roll under 3, we re-roll, but only with our 1 die. And what they do is they don't take the total of all of the 3 dies that are then rolled. 1 is the base combat plus the 2 because of the leader. They'll just take whatever the highest one is and add it to this. So let's just go and see what actually happens. As you can see there, we get absolutely smashed and destroyed. And so all 5 points are destroyed from our perspective. And so in that sense, we then lose that particular fight completely. The Huskars completely smash their way through. And we then just go through fight by fight. You can see 8 versus 5. These are just raw spearmen. They're fairly weak generally, but they're fighting just skirmishing troops. In that case, we actually happened to win it and almost killed them. That was just a really lucky roll. They had a minimum of 1, and they did actually roll 1 and a 2 and a 3. We rolled a 10, luckily for us, got 4 points, and so just defeated the 4 of the points that were there. But that's really going to be an outlier. You can see there we got smashed again. Evading just means we take 1 less damage, but it's not enough for us to move through here. The skirmishing troops, we get absolutely destroyed in this particular fight. They then pursue us and destroy the rest of them, and so we've completely been wiped out. And so this is how it works. Small frontage, no cavalry able to really do much in this case, and really relying on infantry with the support behind them to give them bonuses. And so even though they had we had the terrain defense of 2 because of where we are, it didn't actually help us. So that's the end of that battle. These are quite quick little battles in Field of Glory Kingdoms, but we'll play the next battle out. So they didn't take any damage there at all, really. It's well, there was actually this one here. This raw spearman did actually take a little bit of a bite due to one of our javelin. Okay, so that's the end of that particular battle. Now our force now moves in. So we now actually have the again, we've got our force with a combat rating of 155 with 14 units, but not really suitable for fighting in the hills. And Northumbria is now established as a defender, so they get the benefit of defending in the hills. So if I now attack them using the actual battle system in Field of Glory Kingdoms, I'm going to possibly lose because they've got he's also got 2 points there. We have 2 points because we're attacking in through here with Gronwy, so that cancels each other out in terms of the number of dies that are rolled, but they're still going to get the +2 defense, and we don't get that because we are now considered the attackers. They now control, you can see the Northumbria has now got a border through there, so they control that region. But we are going to export this battle and play it in Field of Glory 2 Medieval. And so overwrite the exported battle, yes. So battle exported to Field of Glory 2 Medieval. If you're ready, Kingdoms will now close and Medieval will start. These are 2 different games, by the way. I know that people get confused by this or think that it's clumsy. This has been improved a lot in this version of the game, where it really just opens from one to the other and then back again, as you'll see. So I'm just going to let the whole thing sort of play out. So ready to launch, like we can exit Field of Glory Kingdoms now and launch Field of Glory 2 Medieval, yes. I'm glad that they've actually spent time to do this, actually. So it's now just automatically going to start to run Field of Glory 2 Medieval, which is back up through there. I'm not clicking on anything, it's just opening up. And it will then just go straight to the actual battle, I think, from memory. So this is a full-on tactical battle. So what we've looked at so far has been the system, for playing sort of like this big strategic game on the map of Europe. Whereas Field of Glory 2 Medieval doesn't have anywhere near the degree of detail in that sort of sense. You can play campaigns, but they literally are just battle, follow battle, follow battle. This is really a tabletop experience. So we're the Welsh versus the Anglo-Saxons, and the enemy's offering open battle. I'll just close this one through here. And so what we have is you're in deployment mode. You can drag and swap units until you're happy with your position. You can't swap units if one would end up outside its own development area. You can switch units to different commands. You can move generals to different units. So what we're just going to do is I'm just going to go through, and we can sort of see that these are slightly different but the balance between this and kingdoms is very, very good. Like they've really spent a lot of time sort of doing things. I can use the Q and E keys to sort of to go and have a look around. There's a lot of keyboard shortcuts in this particular game. This is a great game. So we're now looking at the actual units we can now fight in the tabletop experience. Now this is going to be the front. The enemy is down through here. So this is the region that we're playing in. It's a hilly region, as we saw. There's a coastline to it as well. So we've got the coastline. Down through the side here, we do actually have some open terrain, but with some woods. There's a slight area through there. There's a slight... I'm looking at the rough terrain. Difficult terrain is not our friend. And in fact, if we have a look at the... these are armoured noble cavalry. If we go and click on these guys, you'll sort of see that these are... They should be moderately disordered. These don't like being in the rough. They like being in non-rough area through here. And this is all difficult terrain in the hills in through this other side. And so we've got like a lot of cavalry, more sort of heavier cavalry than what the enemy has got. But for that to be effective, we either have to fight back down in here, which means we sort of got to wait for them to come to us, which they may not do. Or we have to take it into these plains in through here. And this is what I'd like to do, is try to push my way forward to potentially come through here, I'm thinking. So we push push what we can do this side. So if we use that as our guide, with what we can then go and do, you can see when I click on different things, that one there can really only be set up properly in through here. We just happen to have it back up this other side, and these are probably also supposed to be in closer. I could smash my way. It's open ground there. That's actually fine for fighting through there, but then we've got difficult terrain there. I think I really do want to come straight through this other side if I can with my cavalry, and probably use my my infantry to protect this region, so we can sort of block what's actually going to be happening through here. So we actually have some different generals in through this side. This is Gronwy, our commander-in-chief, with the armoured noble cavalry. There's no real point keeping them back here. We do have some Ostmen. These are heavy infantry, if we have a look and see what they've actually got. And so these are undrilled heavy foot. These are terrible. If I put them in, like they're not terrible units, but they're terrible in this sort of difficult terrain. If I move them up there, you'll notice that these are severely disordered. This really puts them at a massive disadvantage when they're in rough terrain. Similarly, if I put them into forest, they're severely disordered. They like to be on the plains. So if I put them in the plains, they're just steady, and we end up with all of the benefits of using them. So these need to be able to break their way through. So I'm going to go and place them there and swap the positions over. And I'm going to use the other Ostmen as well, just to move up. Even though they're going to be severely disordered, I'm going to try to... I might just even leave them back here a little bit. We then actually have medium foot, so Brythonic foot back through here. You can see when I hover over this or even click on them, it says type medium foot. Quality is average. These are lightly protected. These don't have the same degree of problem. These are moderately disordered in rough terrain. And so these can sort of fight in this region. I'm going to do that and have them operate a little bit through there, but we have hardly any actual infantry with our force. Our force is mainly cavalry. So we're going to have to break our force up to move across the actual battlefield. So we're going to be wanting to have that in through there. We may be able to bring, in fact, if I bring the Ostmen back, maybe we actually charge in with some of our cavalry. Now, the different groups will also, if I go and click on Gronwy, he's in control of these through here. This commander is only in charge of itself. This one is in charge of all of these. This is Riyad Ap Rees back in through here in charge of this particular group. These are moderately disordered. These are an armoured noble cavalry, which is sort of like proto-knights, essentially, that we actually have. Now, we've got noble cavalry down through there as well. These are different, slightly different to the armored noble cavalry. The armored noble cavalry is more heavily armored. These are just protected, so these are a bit faster, and so we will be able to chase things down. I'm going to actually move some of these up now. Yeah, these are all. I think we'll keep this whole group actually on this side here, and use, because we know that the enemy cavalry is going to be fast moving, but not really able to compete with what we actually have through here. So let's go and move all of these up this way. I'll keep this group down in through here. Like we just happen to have these positioned here. If I move them off from there, I have to keep them back in through here. This unit here, this is armored noble cavalry again. I'm going to have these come charging through here. Yeah, this is noble cavalry, and then we've got armored noble cavalry there. Let's see if we can actually get these to break out at least into this area, so we can then sort of try to fight. Now, these aren't going to be great against spearmen. Spearmen are great at defending against cavalry. So it's going to be an interesting fight. We've got nothing else left at the bottom there. This is our skirmish group. I'm happy for them to... I've got another one back over there. This is not part of that. These are just their own entities, really. I think I'm going to keep them... They can go sort of right across the whole frontage. Let's position those there. We'll keep these four as, like, just to sort of protect the middle of the flank. I'm tempted to bring that one back, but I think we'll still allow, just because the enemy cavalry is likely to be able to operate a little bit more effectively back through here, it's just to have one unit that can actually... These aren't impacted at all by rough terrain or by forest. If I put them back in the forest, no problem at all. So they can operate very, very well. And so moving them into the forest that we actually have through here, into these woods, is going to be good for us. We also have marsh land in through here, and I can actually operate these guys very effectively in there. So I'm going to possibly move them up into the marsh. Now that's only got a frontage of 3, which means I could move another one back, although I do actually have the forest here as well. What I might do is I might just move 2 of these across. Actually, no, I'll leave the other one there. Okay, so that's going to be how we then set things up. We don't actually have any other generals we can actually place in this one, but I can reshuffle if I wanted to, but I don't really want to. So anyway, that'll do us. We'll end our turn. And this is now the enemy. Cavalry. Now, there's a few blind spots we don't get to really sort of see, and so these are mercenary light horse. These are much more. These can do a lot more. These are unprotected. So through there, you can see the quality is disheartened. So their morale is already low because they've come off the boats. So we've got these are unprotected. So if we can catch them, we're going to do pretty well. I'm just going to move this guy down into here. And he now can see what's going on. And we now want to move these across so that we end up away from the plains. Sorry, away from the rough terrain and into the plains, into the open terrain. And these will be able to charge into the enemy. It's just going to be slow moving initially. Into the rough terrain there, which then severely disorders these. Noble cavalry is different. These are also severely disordered, though, as they hit these areas. So if we get caught on the rough terrain, we're going to suffer badly. And so they can operate fairly well through there, and that may already be a bit of a problem. These will also be able to hem us in a little bit. You can see we can charge up this way. Let's just do that. Actually, I can move the whole group up. So we'll have them charge through the gap, and then we'll have the Ostmen also then just come in behind them. The Brythonic Foot, I do want to move them across the top of the gap. We have the rough terrain in here, so let's just go and get these guys into the woods, and we'll get these guys into the swamp. Right, now is it F3? No, it's 3. No, I've forgotten all my keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, Shift 3 allows me to then sort of get nice and close to what's going on. And you'll notice that the actual the units themselves look like tabletop units. That's by design. They're made to. The game is based on an actual tabletop game, and so they look like they've been painted. The terrain looks painted. The characters look like they're painted areas. You can sort of see the in a bit more detail what they all actually have. So our Ostmen are essentially sort of proto-Huskarls, back into this other side. Brythonic foot, there we go, with the blue painting on them. The Ostmen coming back through this other side. These aren't as good as the actual Huskarls from the other side, but we do actually then have our cavalry sort of coming back through. Our skirmishers are now in the swamp, and then back on the other side we then have these raw spearmen back in this other side. We do actually have the Huskarls, which are in the middle here. This is the strongest unit in the ground, on the battlefield. And Seaward the Stout actually is in control of those. Now, we do actually have some more Northumbrian mercenary light javelin horse sort of coming through. We should be able to, if we can get in behind the spearmen, we'll then be able to do some good damage, but it's going to be getting in behind. It's not going to be easy. So that's sort of where we are. Let's just do Shift 3 again and go back to the top there. It's a great little game actually, just in terms of what it actually does do. Tab, I can then go through any unit that hasn't actually moved. I think I will move these up and that one as well, just to get off the, just so we can sort of give a bit of support into these other units. So we may sort of, we've got the Huskarls coming this way. I have to be careful with them. They're going to be the hardest one for us to contend with, and in one sense they can close us in to this gap, and we may need to come back through here with our cavalry. A little bit concerned about these guys are going to be able to get into strong positions before we can really sort of charge them. So charging them is going to be difficult. We do have an avenue through there though. We may switch our cavalry back to go along this road and see if we can actually sort of move our way across the hills that way, at least to get in behind these guys. Once we actually meet up with these, we're going to then do other things. We're going to be able to then sort of do other aspects with them. Now, if I press, is it Control? Again, I've forgotten all of my different keyboard shortcuts. Is it I? No, I've completely forgotten. Yeah, it is. It's Control-click. So I just was doing the wrong thing. But if I have a look at this one, I can then sort of see, what we're dealing with. So we're dealing with a disheartened troop quality. They're unprotected. They do actually have. They've got javelins at range 1, so they have to be really close to us to be able to then use this one. They do have a light spear, which does give them some sort of impact. So they have plus 50 points of advantage, which is what POA is, versus any troops except knightly lancers. They're mounted troops in open terrain. They have plus 100 points of advantage versus light foot, bowmen, or so they can actually attack us into here. The troop quality though is minus 23. So that's actually what they are. Our guys in through here, if we click on this one, these actually have light spear versus any, unless the light spearmen are charging. There's the impact. They do actually have javelins as well. Our troop quality is also pretty poor. As we come back through, we then have the armoured noble cavalry. These are steady in this sort of sense. We have plus 85 points of advantage versus any in the troop quality. So our quality is much, much better than the enemy. So we'll just go and leave that where that is. Again, if I just press tab, I can just go through. Everyone has now moved, so we'll just go and end our turn. I'll just get rid of those tools. Now, if the enemy ends up in rough terrain... Sorry, just got to end my turn there again. Are you sure? Yes, we are. Now, they're disordered there. They're moving into difficult terrain. And we may be able to get into here, which still may be a bit of a problem for us. So they've actually now severely disordered. Sorry, these are only moderately disordered, the Huskarls. I thought they'd be severely. But anyway, they're moderately disordered in that rough terrain. I'm just going to move up into the marsh. It's still all marsh there, so we'll just go and place that one through there. Now, if we charge this unit, it's going to run. And I can't do much else with any of these other guys, but if I charge it with this one, we're then going to be moving and chasing it down through here, which we have to be a little bit careful of. These are quite unmaneuverable. If we just press Control and click, these are undrilled heavy foot, and their special features are that they are unmaneuverable, which means it's difficult for them to change direction. So if we get in behind them, we can do massive damage with our cavalry, but if not, they like being offensive spearmen. You'll see there that the impact and melee, these are offensive spearmen. They get plus 100 points of advantage versus any troops unless the spearmen are charging mounted shock troops. So the troop quality is minus 38. They've got a general, in this case, with the army, so that sort of adds in a little bit there. Once they go past the impact phase, which is when they first meet, they then actually have subsequent turns will then be in melee. In this case, they end up with so they end up with plus 100 points of advantage. They have an armor advantage up to 25 points of advantage versus less well armored foot, unless these have heavy weapons, meaning Huskars or Ostmen. So Ostmen are great against these sorts of units. Anyway, that's sort of what we have in through there. Our units, if we have a look and see, for example, the armoured noble cavalry, these are cavalry units. They're not the shock troop that we sort of see with actual knights. So these are sort of proto knights. They don't actually have the same ability, but they do actually have light spear. That is what they're using for impact. So plus 50 points of advantage versus any troops except for knightly lancers. The mounted troops in open terrain, plus 100 points of advantage versus light foot, bowmen or mobs. And so we don't really get much in through there. In melee, we end up with plus 100 points of advantage because they're using sword versus any mounted, plus 100 points of advantage against foot, unless these are steady and pike, offensive spearmen, defensive spearmen, or defending an obstacle. So we don't get that one there for against spearmen. So spearmen, you'll sort of see, will be a little bit more difficult for us. We need to gang up and destroy them piecemeal. So I am going to charge in, because what will happen is this armoured noble cavalry will then chase this one down through the map and put us in a position where we may be able to get past this. We're evading and we follow in a little bit further. We're now going to charge in with everyone else as well. We'll move that whole command. And we really want to get these to try to get in behind this. Now, they're probably going to be plugging gaps, which we have to then be careful of. We may have to go through the woods to avoid them. Now, the Brythonic foot, I think I'll stay on the hill here, actually. Which means that I'm probably just going to move the Ostmen up. You can see there that these are pointing in this direction into the woods. They have to essentially turn and then move. So to move into there, I can't just move them easily. They're because they're so heavy, and so these are undrilled heavy foot, and I'm just going to move it one up through there. I'm going to keep them on the side here. In fact, I can still actually move them up even more. I might just do we do it? These are a little bit more maneuverable. If we have a look at the height, this is a height 300, that's height 200, 100. That there is actually still good, 250, 200. So we only have a height advantage of 50 there, but that's all we have there anyway. Let's move that across to there. And we can't rotate afterwards. We can't rotate there yet. This one we can just start to move up. So we'll just move that one across into that position. Now, what can we do here? I can start to move my way through here, but it's going to be difficult. And unfortunately, we get sort of stuck everywhere. Now, if I attack this one here, if I attack any one of these, if I have a look at this, so I can turn and fire. This is what I can do. I can actually, where I currently are, we're going to get 0 to 2 casualties. If I look at that one, we get 0 to 4. When I hover over this one here, we have the impact is we're going to win this 28% of the time. It's likely to just be a draw for the impact phase, but then after that one, we do actually have a fairly good chance to win this. The trouble is that they can then get in behind us. So I'm going to actually take this to try to lock them down. because what this will then do is it'll allow me to hopefully get my other forces close enough to be able to do some sort of damage. So let's go and do this one. Now if I press, is it shift again or control? Yeah, if I press control, I can then see what's impacting these results. And it's fairly convoluted the way it actually does work. So in the impact phase, points of advantage, our light spear has plus 100 with a troop quality of minus 12. The enemy has got a light spear, they have plus 50 with a troop quality of minus 23. So the net points of advantage for us is plus 61. And that then translates into the prediction for the win-loss modifier. For melee, it really just comes down to troop quality, and we have better quality than them. So I'm just going to attack this one. Now they've evaded. Now we've moved off from that line. I was hoping to actually do better than that, to be honest. I'm going to move this one across into the rough, which is not good. So I'm just going to move those up initially. We've got rough everywhere. Let's see if we can break our way out. They're going to be able to do a lot of damage to us. If we go and have a look at these guys, for example, and click on those. No, we're not going to be able to sort of see it. But anyway, let's just see what actually happens here. Just press tab. Just make sure that this one's still actually stuck there. I'll keep that one where that is because this is probably where I want him to be fighting. So that's the only one we have left. We'll just end our turn there. They're facing. They're trying to now get us back in through here. Yeah, they're blocking off our cavalry. They're pivoting. So we're going to go back. It's going to be interesting to see what actually happens here. This could be a bit of a disaster for us. Maybe I'll break out there. Okay, we evaded off the map. That means we possibly will come back again at some point. Now we can charge this one directly. So I'm going to do this because we're going to be charging from clear terrain. And we're smashing our way through. That's awesome. Now if I do this one here, you'll see that we do actually have a win. Now this is possibly going to chase them off here as well. So let's go and actually, for that one there, if we go and attack this one here, you'll see that the actual impact there is very poor. It's not terrible, but essentially we're going to be attacking from the woods, whereas I'm better off attacking from the difficult terrain to go up against this guy here. I'm going to do that. He's going to evade. We're now going to be charging, evading, but we didn't manage to move off, but we have essentially now taken this location, which is absolutely ideal. Now they're positioning themselves further around. We have now sort of broken out at this point with what we're doing, so we're going to continue to maneuver. I'll just go straight with this, and I will come this way with these guys. We're going to be hitting this open plain with our cavalry. Now, the others have also left the field. They'll come back in a few turns, just on the edge of the map somewhere. But and this one has now broken through a little bit, but there's nothing much left anywhere else. I'm going to start to. Definitely don't want to be attacking these. We can't charge spearmen, but I can actually turn and start to do casualties here. And this will start to disorder them even more. I'm going to hit that one. And if I go again, there's a good chance that we're going to start to do other damage, but I sort of want to weaken these as they're coming through. Actually, I'll just do this one here. Now, if they charge us, we'll just charge back. I am going to stay. I'm just going to reposition here. Just going to turn the unit. I'm going to keep that one where that is. Now, the trouble we have here is that they control these squares. And if I charge this one, he's just going to charge into these different areas. There's a chance that if they attack us, we'll then run back anyway. So I've got to think, do I actually go for this? Like if I move this one down here, for example, or even over here, get even further away. We may be able to skirt back around them, and I think I'm going to attempt this. I can actually rotate just one, so we'll do that and just get them ready. Now these will be able to move into there and possibly into there to even lock me down. Let's just see if we can do this. Again, I can just rotate. This is our Commander-in-Chief. This is Gronwy. I'm going to move up and then see if I can somehow get past those guys there. I don't know if I will be able to. If I rotate there, I can possibly get in back in around this way. And I'd like all three of these to be in behind. I am going to attack this. Now we charge them. We did some damage there. So we have done some damage, but we're now locked into a fight. Now we may be able to bounce back out, but we're now up against Raw Spearmen, which is completely what we don't want to be doing. There's another commander that we actually have. This is Murig ap Llewellyn, in charge of this particular group. The Ostmen we want to have back across here and then on top of that hill. So we want to be sort of in a position to support whatever we can do through here. We still need to break through over through here with our cavalry. If we can hit the open plains, we're going to be doing very, very well. Let's just see who we've got left to move. I can move up to there. Now, if I'm standing with being moderately disordered, if I get attacked by somebody into the rough terrain, they also become moderately disordered. So I can technically move to there if I wanted to, but I think I'm just going to wait. So I'm just going to leave all of those units where they actually are, and we'll just end our turn there. So this will be interesting to see what can happen here. Now we've been able to disrupt them, and we managed to fall back. This has actually worked out ideal, because of the quality of our troop. We when a defensive spearman attacks, they end up with a disadvantage, and in that case, we've actually been able to disrupt them. Now the Huskarls are all coming across to attack these, and then are getting ready for the rest of the cavalry. So we'll now take some damage here. Now I don't really want to use Gronwy in what's happening here. So they're sort of trying to now block us in against the shoreline. And again, when we have a look at our movement, we can't, if we move into there, we get locked in. If I attack this one, we get locked in as well. But this one is moderately, this one is already has been disrupted, which means that it fights much, much less effectively. If I click on that one through there, yeah, disrupted. And so its attack is going to be much, much less with what it does. Yeah, that's anyway. We'll sort of keep it going with what we're doing. So we want to move through the woods and get in behind them. And we've sort of done it with those three. It's only this one here, Murig ap Llewellyn, and I'm actually tempted to actually let's just see if we can actually rotate these at all. Can we do it? No, we can't. We can undo that move. If I charge into here, I think I'm in trouble. And our strength, we've lost 10 already of our strength. We are going to charge, but then we're going to be charging straight into spearmen. And if I move into there, this is going to be very ineffective in terms of what's going to happen with spearmen attacking us. The Huskarls will then have to figure out what to do. So let's just go and move that to there. That to there at this stage. Keep that one where that is. And we'll now just focus on these. That's good. We got rid of one of the little groups. That's actually that's a good sign. Getting rid of the little groups in the tabletop. In the tabletop, they've actually got like lead bases that you can then sort of take the units off as they take more and more damage. And I'm thinking what we'll do here is we'll actually turn and fire and try to disrupt them. Yeah, they held firm, but another one of their bases went. So that's actually a good sign. We're now down into the plains. And this one here, if I'm now beyond, that one can't really move, like turn and then attack me. So we're out. We're out here, which is great. These as well, I can now sort of charge back in. I can charge this one off the field. There's a chance we'd follow it. It's evading as well. If we can hit it a second time, that would be ideal. That one will go off the battlefield. I will actually do it. It didn't go. That's good. So we stayed in the field. That's usually discipline. The discipline was good there. Now there will be more that will then come back. They'll come back in again. Again, these can operate. If we have a look at these guys, these are moderately disordered. Ours will be severely disordered. So I'm going to just still operate this way. And I can just get back into the plains there, into the open areas, and then we'll just rotate around and just get ready again to come back across. So that's actually happening fairly well. If I just press tab, these are in position. This one here. If I move back into there, I think I'm back out. But what are these guys then going to do? So let's go and do that. If I move into there, I do another charge. I may end up charging this one, which could disrupt it. That could be very effective. There's another commander right there, though. This is Wilfred. So this is Acewell, son of Wilfred. I'm really in two minds. This is not a great move because we then end up charging back into Spearmen. So let's actually move up into here and just try to get through the woods if we can. If they come back, we're then going to have to sort of round them up because our Osman are not going to be able to survive long against the Seaward the Stout and through here with his Huskarls. They're a better quality troop. That should be enough for us, I think. What I can do is move these. I'll keep these where they are. They'll be effective if they come back this way, and we really just want to be blocking this off, just creating like an anvil for our cavalry to then operate in. So let's end our turn there. Yep, they're splitting across, which is ideal. The Huskarls have gone back to fight against the cavalry. So we're going to be slow moving with our cavalry. There we go, they're now moving in behind us. They throw their javelins, but we are fairly well armoured. They did charge us. Actually, they did manage to get a charge. We did manage to evade. So they charged us in the forest. So we've evaded out of those. Now I still can't charge effectively into there. I'm going to move up. In this case, we end up with fairly big attacks. So I'm just going to go and... I want to do it this way. Let's go and move up, because we're still in the rough terrain there. And we do want to be breaking these. Now, if we move to there, they can't really do much against us from that position. They can if we move into here. Actually, if I press G, yeah, the grid might help a little bit just to understand what's going on. If I move into one of these positions, this one here can essentially attack me. And they can attack me there, but they can't reach me because these have only got a movement of 2. If I move into this position here, I then end up with a flanking maneuver against that particular unit. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to position that one there and get ready for a charge next turn. because none of these can really, they can lock me down, but they can't really do much against me. So now we can start to break out of here. And we should be out. They shouldn't be able to turn and maneuver into here to attack this one directly. These have now broken out a little bit, and we now actually have all of these. So I can do this one here. I'm just going to turn and do... Actually, no, I've got... Everyone is now pointing in the right direction here. If I don't move them, I'm going to be doing a lot of damage to this. And there's a chance that they will disrupt. Yep, there we go. And possibly even run. There we go, 13. So we've done a lot of damage to this group. This one here, you can see there that this one is blocking us. There's like the little lines in through there. This one is actually controlling all of these. So the only way out for me is to maneuver through here, which is okay. I'm going to come down the hill here, because that's going to open things up for me. I'm going to maneuver into the open terrain here. And nothing much I can really do there. I'm just going to go past these, and we're going to attack this one here. We'll evade, but we're still sort of locked into that particular location there. So that's now in behind us. I could have moved it back in around, but I'm just going to now try to get in behind the others. Yeah, I can't do anything with that one. So we're sort of all over the place here, but we have broken out of the hill, and we're sort of now fighting fairly effectively. I could attack this one, but it may change the facing. So I'm going to leave that one where that is and just allow these to fight. These ones will possibly then try to lock us in while the Huskarls then come back. But at that point, we'll then actually have cavalry in behind, which means we should be able to now start to do extra things against these spearmen. They shouldn't attack these light javelin men. They'll just run away. The Brythonic foot, I'm sort of tempted to use them. But I think I'm going to wait because I am concerned about the Huskarls. That should be everyone, I think. Let's just end our turn there. They did well there. They're not supposed to be able to do that effectively. Roll these up. Now we should win. Oh, we held firm, but we're pushed back. This is not good. That was a terrible result for us, because even though I do get the flanking charge, it's risky now. I'm still going to do it. Flanking attack, but nothing much happened, and we fell back. Now we're likely to be sort of caught in here now. I am going to attack again. And I am going to move this one up. Now if I lock that one in, I can stop them from moving in. I can assault it, but I'd end up going down the hill, which I don't want to be doing that either. So I'm going to go and move into here. I can actually attack from here, down the hill. It exposes our flank, and so I can't really do that. But I have locked them in now. So they sort of can't really fight me unless another one engages with me, which is what's going to happen. Yeah, that one can't do anything. Let's move in behind this unit. We can't charge at it just yet. And we'll bring these across. So they'll be out of there next turn. These ones, we'll just keep on focusing on these for now. It's fragmented, which means it's auto broken and it's gone. So it's now routed. which means that I can start to bring these across to lend support immediately. So let's go and do that. It also means we can use these now to start harassing, and we will do that. Yeah, this harassment's going to be important. Now I can't attack something that's already being sort of attacked, so let's just go and turn this one. Just do some damage there, which will be effective. So we need to hold this gap. I love the nuance and the detail, like the random maps essentially, but they do actually perform very, very well. We need to maneuver back in around behind this guy, so we're just going to switch around. So it takes a little bit to maneuver. Now I do have, I think if I rotate, no, I can't do the attack, so I'm just going to undo that. I'm going to move down through here. We're going to charge this unit here. It's off the map. And we're going to position this one now and get that one ready as well. Alright, so we're being sort of caught up with all of their cavalry, but we have now gotten rid of most of them off the field. They'll be back again, but they shouldn't really play a big role in the coming fight. This is really where the fight now is going to be really taking shape. Our Ostmen are in a bad position here, so we may need to keep Morig's force of armoured noble cavalry around just to help out. If they attack in here, it will then turn the facing for the next turn, and then these could get a flanking attack unless I keep these here. But they're also blocking off the Seaward the Stout. If they move back out, Seaward the Stout could move into that position as well, and then really put a lot of pressure on here. We should break through here. What I might even do is, no, I'll keep Mad Dog in through here, or Maydog in through here in control of this, just so we end up with better pressure. I could switch him across to this group, but I'm going to keep him where he is. All right, so that's pretty much everyone, I think. If I just press Tab, yeah, we've just got these units. Actually, this one here, I do actually have that as well. I need to get that one out of there, maneuver around away from this group of spearmen, just so we can put pressure on. Now we need to get up to a look. If we have a look at the actual what the objectives are, we need to rout the enemy by routing at least 40% of their troops and 25% more than what you have lost. Now we've lost 2% at this stage, and so we need to get this one up to 25, or routing 60% of their troops overall. So we're winning at the moment. But that's sort of really what's going to have to be happening. Let's just end our turn here. It's dispersed. Hold on again. There we go. Fragmented and fallen back. That's great. This is exactly what we want. They've now panicked. Now they can force the others to do that. Now that protects this unit. This one is fragmented as well because it was sort of near it. So I'm going to go and smash into it with a charge. And it also has fragmented. So it is essentially dead. That one is ready to be destroyed. This one here, I'm just going to hit that one fairly hard. Then we have these guys. We're putting pressure on their forces. I'm going to keep on doing this. Now we're locked in there, unfortunately. This one has sort of got us in a bit of a bind. I'm going to switch this one around. I can't do anything else there. Just going to harass this. We need to lend support now. We need to get back into this other part of the fight. Get these away. And we're standing right in front of the spearmen. They'll attack us and we'll then evade away from that one. Let's just move and then start to turn. So these are quite unmaneuverable. They've now turned around, which is fine. The Huskarls have also turned around because of the threat of our cavalry. These will be charged and we should then run away. Let's just move this one away and rotate. And get these ones ready as well. So with this one here, I can maneuver out to this other position, but it then does open this one up. So I'm just going to go and turn the unit just so we face the charge of the spearmen. Now, actually, these are offensive spearmen. They're not defensive spearmen. I've had these wrong all the way along. Offensive spearmen are good at attacking, which is why they've been attacking. Do they have any defensive? No, they've got all offensive, which is really quite strong. Now, I do actually have, again, slight areas in through here. We've taken a bit of damage here with this particular group, so I'm going to keep that one where that is. And I'm sort of tempted now to bring these guys up, because they'll be able to now put pressure on as well, but it's probably just a shade too early. I can move that one across into there. This is open ground on a hill. Yeah, I might do that one. The trouble with them being offensive spearmen is that they will... I'll stay where I am. I'll stay where I am there. This is a bit of a problem for us now. We've sort of been caught in through here with these noble cavalry. All right, let's send our turn here. They've returned. And they've been disrupted with their charge. And they held firm. We did fall back. They're fighting the cavalry at the back there. And we should get them to run. Yep, they're broken. They're out of there. We're nearly up to the 25%. We now have we've evaded through that one. That's now broken as well. We're now over the 25. That's disrupted. These are disrupted. You can see how the game models this collapse of armies, like with disruptions coming and leading to other disruptions. We now actually have a big advantage in through here. So we're attacking this one. There is actually still Ackwell's group in through here, Ackwell's son of Wilfred. We do actually have the Seaward the Stout back in this other side. Again, I don't want to be attacking the Huskarls. We do have a problem here attacking this one. Let's just see if we can get them to run as well. Yep, they're broken. And we've gotten past that, which is great. Now, we're certainly well and truly into where we need to be with this. If I charge that one, we do win the first one, but not the second one. So I'm going to wait until we actually get the ability for that to move around. Let's just swing these around, do some more damage. Can't do anything there. These ones here should be able to break these as well now. Okay, the cohesion wasn't enough for it to do anything else. So these are still operational. No, they're routed, sorry. They've been routed. So in that case, we might as well just continue firing at these and put pressure on. We've held firm. But now I can bring these down to put pressure on this as well. Stop them from moving. Even though we're down the hill, we should be, they're a height 150, we're a height 100. They've got a slight advantage over us on the, if they do turn around, but they're not going to be able to survive for very long. Now we do actually have, now this is interesting. In the game, there is a a mechanic for flanking maneuvers, which gives you a big advantage if you can hit them in the flank. Now, we're going to be going to there and then hitting them in the flank, but we start in front of the flank, which means we don't get the flanking shot. But they're already disrupted, which means that we have a big advantage here with our guys against their spearmen is a big advantage. You can see there the impact. In fact, if I press control, you can see there we end up with the points of advantage. Ours, we get the heavy weapon plus a general of 50. The enemy is an offensive spearman. They get plus 100. Troop quality is negative 38. The general is plus 50. We don't get the flanking benefit of this particular one. And then we're still going to get a bonus in here. But because they're disrupted, it gives us a like morale / disorder modifier. The enemy unit is disrupted. There's another negative 26% in through there. So this one is definitely worth smashing into. And has fragmented, so it's now even worse. And so they can no longer attack us in the flank with our armoured cavalry. We're attacking this one. They're in trouble. They're going to come through and charge into us now, but we now are sort of locking them in a little bit. So even though they may be able to do some damage against Morag's armoured noble cavalry, we're still in a very strong position here to completely destroy them. In fact, I don't think I can get out of this. So let's now move away from the big threat. We'll just keep on kiting our way away from there. I don't think that they may be able to reach us there, so I think I'll just move across and manoeuvre that one there. I can charge this one in the flank. A rear attack. We fall back. They actually do a good job of protecting themselves. We can't really get through there. Charging out of those. I'm sort of ignoring these. It's going to be just too distracting while we try to bring our actual cavalry back. These are sort of just light skirmish cavalry. So that's pretty much everyone, I think. Now we do have this problem here where they're actually now charging into all of these. These are chasing them down, and they will turn, but we should be past them, and we should win the game right now, or win the battle. So we have defended well here. So they've actually now locked us in with the Huskars, but we can still charge off. Again, they're harassing, and so we manoeuvred out of there, flank attacking through there. So they've actually decided to go into melee, which means we may need to protect them a little bit. They should run. Off they go. And once they end their turn, we should be over the 25%. They should run as well. Oh, they held firm. Wow. There we go. The enemy has lost heart. You are victorious. So we've now played the battle out in Field of Glory, Field of Glory 2 Medieval. We click on OK, and the Welsh have had a glorious victory in through there. So we'll just go and close this. So that then just gives us the, like we lost 5%, they lost 43%. So we'll just go and close. And do you want to close Field of Glory 2 Medieval and launch Kingdoms? Yes, we do. I love this because it's now pretty seamless. It's still switching between the two games, but it actually now works very, very well. And so we now come back in. Now, when we actually come back into this is probably one of the things that we do need to do it doesn't just automatically open up where we were. We need to come back in and import the most recent Field of Glory 2 Medieval battle result, which happened to be right today. So let's go and bring that one in. And we'll then actually see the results of our actual fight. So again, whatever whichever way you prefer to play the game. And I know that there's a lot of people who actually prefer to just play kingdoms as kingdoms. And so we've wiped out a lot of the forces. The Huskars are still around. They've lost a little bit with all those fights, but the spearmen, we've destroyed a multitude of spearmen into here. So we've got a slight disadvantages there with the armoured noble cavalry. They took a bit of a beating. Everything else did pretty well. Our Ostmen there also took a bit of a beating. So we've actually defeated Northumbria, so we'll just end that one. Seaward the Stout, of course, with his Huskars is fine. Just go and close that one. And so that's the end result there. The force has now moved off, so they're back into it's still harsh, and they're still processing now the turn. So it's still a we go system, but we have now defeated that particular group. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I won't go through how all this then sort of works, but this is another big a big result for the team for Wales against now another of the English armies, and we're still intact, and so we can now move back into the plains again. We may need to sort of try to keep a force that can move back in to do other things. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. If you are interested in Field of Glory Kingdoms, there's, as I say, I've got a lot of content that's now on the Slitherine channel, so have a look at those, where we have been playing as Wales, and I've been going very slowly to try to explain the different concepts in the game, because it's quite a deep and rich game. And then, of course, you've got the ability to then fight your battles out in Field of Glory 2 Medieval. Now, the work I'm doing, or the videos I'm doing for Slitherine are mainly to show off kingdoms. That's why I wanted to do the special little one-off video to show medieval and show the battles in medieval. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Please like and subscribe if you like this sort of content. I love it.